Now at 5 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, a Harris County deputy in critical condition after he was shot during a traffic stop Wednesday night.
In a recent federal court filing, more than 80% of Texas's floating barriers were installed in Mexican territory.
And an Illinois welcoming center helping with the funeral service for a 3-year-old migrant girl who died on her way to Chicago.
Well, another scorcher for today, but the chances are getting really good and better that we'll get a tropical system in our area to bring us much needed rainfall next week. Keep your fingers crossed on this one. We'll have more coming up.
A woman from Texas is accused of making threats to the judge overseeing former President Trump's federal election interference case. You're watching 25 News Now at 5. Good afternoon. Thank you for being with us. I'm James Munoz.
And I'm Karina Garcia.
A Harris County deputy is recovering this afternoon after authorities say he was shot during a traffic stop Wednesday. He's in critical condition. Investigators say the suspect or suspects took off. The sheriff says one of the suspects was wearing a gray shirt and black shorts and driving a gray or blue Ford Explorer with license plate SVJ 6590.
Agencies mobilizing to help coordinate the search for the possible suspect. I do want to also add that there may have been other people in the vehicle as well. So we're going to be conducting a very massive manhunt, and I've instructed everyone that all hands on deck, and we will not stop until we find the person or persons responsible for injuring our deputy. This person obviously is considered dangerous. If they shot a deputy and it's unacceptable, we're not going to tolerate it. Not now and not at any point. And we're going to do everything we can to bring him to justice.
The Harris County Sheriff says the deputy was transported to the hospital by helicopter.
ERCOT is asking Texans to voluntarily reduce electricity use today. ERCOT says this is due to extreme temperatures, forecasted high demand, and lower reserves. This voluntary conservation notice is in effect until 8 o'clock tonight. ERCOT said that it is not an emergency operations, but the request does ask for all government agencies to find ways to reduce energy use at their facilities. ERCOT's weather watch is in place through Friday.
All right, Chief Meteorologist Mac Bettis watching the tropics for us. Mac.
Yes, thank you very much. Another scorcher for us today. Temperatures up to 103 today, but there's something to talk about that could be very interesting. Over the weekend, we're going to have an area of low pressure develop right about here, and that is going to bring us a bunch of tropical moisture, possibly even a depression that will roll into the crossroads and give us the best chance of rain that we've seen in quite some time. So let's get ready for that. Now the weekend's hot, but that's next week, and that'll be even better. We'll have more coming up in a moment.
Mac, thank you. Services for a 3-year-old migrant girl who died last week while on a bus from Texas to Chicago were held today in northern Indiana. The child, an asylum seeker who died Thursday, started having health concerns while en route on a chartered bus from Brownsville, Texas. She died in Salem, Illinois. Now an Illinois welcoming center is providing support with funeral costs. The preliminary autopsy on the girl was inconclusive. The CDC and other agencies are now investigating the girl's death. A federal court filing showed the majority of the floating barriers put in the Rio Grande under Governor Greg Abbott's border initiative were mostly put in Mexican territory. It included a survey from the International Boundary and Water Commission, which says 80% of the buoys are in Mexican territory. Texas has previously claimed constitutional authority over deploying the buoys. The Department of Justice sued Texas last month, demanding the removal of the border barriers and blocking future floating barrier construction. Now an injunction hearing is set for August 22nd in Austin.
A Texas woman is charged with threatening to kill the judge overseeing Donald Trump's federal election interference case in Washington, D.C. Abigail Jo Schrei is accused of calling the chambers of Judge Tanya Chutkan on August 5th. She left a voicemail message threatening to kill anyone who went after Trump. She also made a threat to kill Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee. The complaint says Schrei admitted to federal agents she made the call but had no plans to travel to D.C. or Houston. She's being held in detention pending trial.
Names, photos, and addresses of grand jurors in the Trump election subversion case in Georgia are circulating on the far-right internet. The Fulton County grand jury voted this week to indict former President Trump and 18 co-defendants. Experts say some anonymous users are calling for violence against the jury. The names being circulated on the far-right wing sites appear to match the names of at least 13 of the 26 grand jury serving on the panel.
Are going to be on screen every day. Everyone is going to know who they are. Their lives are going to be turned upside down. And so just to be able to sit a jury of people who would be even willing to put, their lives on the line is going to be really, really difficult. So it's something that we all need to be thinking about. I know that the DA's office is, but it is, it's serious.
It's not clear if those are the actual grand jurors or just people with similar names. Some of the addresses do appear wrong. We had an Amber Alert this morning. The child was found safely. In today's viewer poll, we want to know, do you pay close attention to those Amber Alerts? Yes or no? You can scan the QR code right there on your screen. We'll show you what you and your neighbors are saying on 25 News Now at 6. The Texas A&M University system has pledged to freeze tuition for in-state undergraduates for the next 2 years. The Houston Chronicle reports this includes a freeze on mandatory academic fees to the benefit of those students at the system's 11 universities. The estimated tuition and fees are more than $11,000 for resident undergraduate students. Tuesday, a Southwest plane had to return to Hobby Airport after its right engine started smoking, then caught fire. A statement from the airline said pilots on board Flight 307 bound for Cancun had to return to the airport after experiencing a mechanical issue shortly after takeoff. Passengers were taken to their destination using a different aircraft. The man who captured the moment on his cell phone said he noticed smoke coming out of the right engine. He also said he was afraid the plane was going to crash, but the plane made a safe landing.
A historic hotel in Palacios is still at risk of being demolished. The Luther Hotel was sold to Eat Rachel Foundation, which has plans to demolish the hotel. The hotel is at the center of a legal battle with efforts to save the hotel from demolition. Tomorrow at 1 p.m. there will be a motion before the court. It will be live streamed on YouTube via Judge Polly Spencer's YouTube channel. The co-chair of the Palacios Preservation Association says she hopes the Luther can still be saved.
It's really exciting at the moment that there could be some real changes that will make a real difference in saving the hotel and doing what's right for the heirs and for the town. And if you haven't signed the petition on GoFundMe, go do that.
Heirs to the Luther Hotel say they would like to change from independent administrators to dependent, which Gower is in favor of because the judge could give recommendations to this ongoing litigation. There are also motions put forward to reinstate the insurance on the Luther Hotel and put fans inside to help preserve the hotel from the heat. To find a link for tomorrow's hearing, come to crossroadstoday.com.
5 of the Victoria Police Department's finest were recognized this morning for their hard work and dedication. A total of 5 law enforcement officers were promoted to new positions. Captain Elaine Moya to Deputy Chief, Lieutenant Jason Turner to Captain, Sergeant William Bernard to Lieutenant, Acting Sergeant Adam Banda to Sergeant, Senior Police Officer Frank Reyes to Sergeant.
Serve the men and women of this great department in this new role. Together, we will continue to work hard to protect our community and build relationships in a place I grew up in.
Victoria Police Chief Chuck Young says the police officers promoted today represent a total of 80 years in law enforcement. For more on today's news stories, come to crossroadstoday.com. Read about the University of Houston students bracing for the closing of the LGBTQ+ Resource Center in response to Texas's ban. That's under news. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. Stay with us. 2 new lawsuits were filed on behalf of survivors and family members of the victims of the 2022 Buffalo mass shooting.
Also ahead, federal surveillance data shows COVID-19 levels are low nationwide, but still on the rise. Two new lawsuits were filed on behalf of survivors and family members of the victims of the 2022 Buffalo mass shooting. 10 people were killed in the racially motivated attack at a Tops Friendly Market grocery store. The 19-year-old white shooter was sentenced to life in prison. The goal is to impose accountability from the gun and body armor manufacturers, as well as the store who sold the teen his weapon. They're also seeking accountability from YouTube, Reddit, and the shooter's parents.
The lawsuit, I mean, no one wants to go this type of things, but the lawsuit is to stop the next family from feeling like we're feeling. And I have to deal with this every day. My family has to deal with this every day.
And then let's talk about that part. I haven't been back to work. And sometimes people ask me too, they're just like, how was work? I'm like, I haven't been to work since May 14, 2022. How do you think it is?
In addition to these two suits, the total number of lawsuits filed on behalf of family members and survivors of the shooting is now at 4.
The police chief in Maui says some of the remains found in the ashes of the Lahaina fire are those of children. Authorities have only named 5 of the 111 victims. Those were all adults. They say the remains of 4 other people were identified, but they need to notify family members first. The chief says the number of people confirmed dead is expected to keep going up. Crews have only searched 38% of that devastated area. As schools across the country reopen for the fall and Americans face the latter half of the calendar year, the CDC says COVID-19 hospitalizations are climbing and have been since early July. The Chicago Department of Public Health has seen about 72 cases a day within the last week, a 4% hike from the week before. While COVID-19 hospitalization rates are high, they're still lower than before. The health experts are advising people to get fully vaccinated and to be careful. Less than 33% of the U.S. is fully vaccinated in all states except Maine, Massachusetts, and Vermont. Federal health experts say more than 104,000 Americans are on the National Organ Transplant waiting list. Every day, 17 people will die because they couldn't get a needed organ transplant.
That's why scientists are working hard to find an alternative to traditional organ transplants involving pig organs.
It's being called the latest milestone toward a new way to transplant organs. A genetically engineered kidney from a pig was put into a human who donated his body to science.
The pig kidney appears to replace all of the important tasks that the human kidney manages.
Surgeons at NYU Langone Health say the pig kidney continues to function well after 32 days. It was transplanted into a man declared brain dead, but a ventilator keeps his heart beating. The hospital says it's the longest period that a gene-edited pig kidney has functioned in a human.
The 1-month kidney biopsies and kidney tests show no evidence of rejection and normal renal function and clearance of toxins.
The pig's thymus, a small gland that helps the immune system fight disease, was also transplanted to help protect the kidneys from being rejected by the human immune system. Researchers say more work is needed, including studies in living human organ recipients to establish whether pig kidney transplants could be a bridge or destination therapy for people with end-stage kidney disease.
We're gaining critical evidence about how well pig kidneys work in the human environment. Hopefully this also gives some assurance to the FDA regarding the safety of initiating phase 1 clinical trials.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The Texas Tribune has this story about state regulators moving forward to allow more discharge of oil field wastewater from conventional drilling and fracking into bodies of water before a thorough risk assessment is completed.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Another scorcher out there. Lots of sunshine, yes, and temperatures rather warm. It's 100 right about now. It feels like 110. And what was our high today? Yep, 103. That's the 34th day that we've had over 100-degree temperatures this summer. Coming up, we'll be talking about the hot weekend, but also the potential for some tropical rain as soon as next week. All that coming up in just a moment. Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's been a long, hot summer, and as I mentioned a moment ago, today is an interesting day. Today we've had the 34th day of 100-degree heat, so that puts us now in 5th place. Okay, so where is it all going to end? Somewhere between 3rd and 2nd place. I believe it's going to be there. But could we get 58 days? That's going to be hard. We definitely will blow past 39 and maybe 42. So you can say you lived through it, okay? So yeah, the temperatures again in the hundreds, 103 for us, 101 down at the coast, but you know, we're optimistic that things will start changing as soon as over the weekend. These are the forecast highs for tomorrow, and everybody in Texas continues in the triple digits. Now, you know, ERCOT says please conserve, and you can do it, we can do it, we have to do it, because if we don't do it, then we may have a power failure, because we're using about 90 to 95% of all the available energy that we have in the state. So, you know, turning off the lights, not using the heavy equipment in the middle of the day will help everybody out. The drought monitor comes out every Thursday, and as you can see right about here, oops, let me go back. We have a section of the area that is in extreme drought, and that includes Calhoun County and all these areas, even up to Houston. Houston, which normally gets something like 80 inches of rain a year, is in a drought, and of course in the exceptional drought is up in the hill country. And why does that concern me? Because so many of our rivers begin in the hill country. All right, so what are our chances of changing our luck? Well, here's the high pressure, the Dome of Doom. It is forecast to be in the plains to the north of us over the next couple of days. And then when it moves to the central plains and St. Louis and Chicago are having a heat wave, you're going to see a tropical wave developing over the Gulf and then rolling into our area. When does it get here? Tuesday, I think it's going to have significant rain chance, and Wednesday as well. As long as it stays up there, it'll allow all that to come through the south. Now, how much rain will we get? It's a big question mark. Well, right now it's very early, but we're going to try tracking it through Monday, Tuesday, and that's as far as we can go right now. So already we're looking at a ½ an inch to an inch down in the Corpus area, and for us at least a ¼ of an inch, maybe more. This will obviously change. It's very hard because this will be isolated to scattered thunder showers. So some places will get, you know, over an inch, some places will get much less than that. So it's hard, but then overall, that's an improving sign, folks. This is you know, a blessing that we're going to be needing. Now, out here in the Atlantic, we're at the peak of the hurricane season, and there are 2 areas that have a strong potential to become tropical systems. Which way will they go, south or north? It's a big question mark. Let's just say that we're going to be watching this for the next 5 days to see anything grows. Now, for us, the people are asking, will it be a tropical storm? I don't think it will be a named tropical storm. I think it'll be a broad area of low pressure, a depression, if you will, but it's so close to land, it's not going to have time to develop. Nonetheless, it's going to go like this, under the low, onto the west coast or the coast of Texas. And the west coast, well, that's a whole nother story. We'll talk about that one later. 98 tomorrow in Port Lavaca, and for the inland areas, we're still in the hundreds. 104 for Cuero. We're staying in the 100s all the way through the weekend. But then Monday we start seeing, hopefully, a break in the temperatures and, yes, a chance of rain. That's your 7-day forecast. Just reminding everybody we have a QR code. We'd love for you to scan that and put Crossroads Today on your phone. Here's James and Karina.
Thank you, Matt. A good break is coming. Stay with us. We'll take a look at your stocks next. Plus, a recent review shows weight loss and diabetes drugs cost more in the U.S. than they do in other countries.
Taking a look at your stocks, the Dow down 290 points, the S&P 500 down 34 points, and the Nasdaq down 157 points. Oil up $1.01, closing at $80.39 a barrel. A new analysis from the Kaiser Family Foundation reported that weight loss and diabetes drugs cost 10 times as much in the U.S. compared to other countries. Wegovy costs quadruple what it does in Germany. Ozempic runs just under $1,000 in the U.S. for a month's supply, but it's under $100 in the U.K. and France. The blood sugar and diabetes drug Mounjaro cost half as much in the Netherlands. The drug manufacturers did not immediately return requests for a comment.
The average interest rate for a 30-year mortgage in the U.S. reached its highest level in 21 years, 7.09%. Not only do high mortgage rates make it more expensive to finance a home, they also make homeowners who locked in lower rates more reluctant to sell. Home sales are about 20% lower than at this time last year. Many elements go into how banks determine mortgage rates. The Federal Reserve's rate is a major influence.
Stay with us. We'll take one last look at your forecast with Mac. Plus, Barbie topped The Dark Knight, becoming Warner Bros. Biggest movie at the American box office. Plus, here's a look at world news tonight right after 25 News Now at 5.
David Muir reports from Maui. Go inside communities struggling to make sense of the tragedy and help them to rebuild their lives. It's Maui Strong on a special edition of World News Tonight with David Muir, the most watched program on television.
Streaming service Crossroads Today Plus. Stream our daily newscasts and much more using your connected TV. Just download Crossroads Today Plus on your Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV, Android TV. Just search Crossroads Today Plus.
Barbie has become Warner Brothers' biggest movie ever at the American box office. As of Tuesday, the Greta Gerwig fantasy film about the iconic doll has made $537.4 million at the U.S. box office since its July 21st opening, beating The Dark Knight. Director Christopher Nolan's Batman blockbuster, The Dark Knight, amassed $536 million. Warner Brothers Discovery announced Barbie had also crossed the $1.2 billion mark globally. This means Gerwig is the highest grossing woman movie director in history.
And I still haven't seen Barbie, but I have seen Oppenheimer. So,
Okay.
and that was a great one. So I just got to watch this one.
It was a Barbieheimer weekend.
Yeah.
You know,
There's a lot
either
of scary
or.
movies out I want to see, 2 or 3.
Really? I can't do scary movies.
No?
Not in the theater. No, I have to watch them at home after everything with the lights
Well,
on.
One silly movie about Barbie, about a doll, $500 million.
He didn't mean that silly word.
Well, I mean, some of you will find deep meaning in it. Some of you will go, huh?
You watched it? You've seen it?
I
You've seen
did.
both?
I went to see it.
Fun,
yes.
fun.
So
So you're an Oppenheimer man.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Fair.
There's other problems with that because I don't think they told the whole story, but hey, it's interesting. It's a social commentary.
Movie critic here.
Yeah, a critic about everything. Okay, we are hoping and optimistic that this will be a hot weekend, and then early next week, including Monday. Yes, folks, it's not your eyes. We're actually predicting rain, significant rain, for next week, so we'll keep our fingers crossed.
Thank goodness. All right, Mac, thank you. Thank you for being with us.
We hope to see you back here tonight for 25 News Now at 6, and World News Tonight with David Muir is up next.